Hi guys, so today we're gonna get started with just a little bit of some art history, and then we're gonna do an inspired piece off of the art history that we're gonna be talking about today. So this image is a painting done by an artist named Henry Matisse, and what we're really going to be looking at with this painting and what we're pulling inspiration from is the fact that Henry used a bunch of patterns throughout his artwork. If you look at this image, we can kind of see that he used patterns, different patterns for different parts of the painting that we're looking at. And as we're looking at the painting, you can decide whether you like it or you don't. I always find that's really important when looking at certain art. But really, we're looking at like how her dress has a different pattern where it's purple with some white stripes. The background has a pattern, and really patterns are just repeating things. So like how we see over here, if we look over on this side, we have like a really thick orange stripe, and then a red stripe, and then an orange, and then a red. And so a pattern is just certain things that are repeating. For example, down here, there are lines that are crisscrossing, making white X's on top of a black background. It's through these patterns that he's made up a wall back here behind her, and a wall over here with the squiggly lines, the squiggly white lines on the blue background. It's how he's made this floor right here that looks like tile, and then this floor over here that almost kind of looks like her dress, but it's a little bit different. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna be working on using our own, we're gonna be making our own patterns. Our end piece isn't gonna look as exactly like Mr. Matisse's, because we don't ever really want to copy art whenever we're making it. We kind of want to we want to look at it and then come up with our own ideas on how we would make our art look different. So really, imagine your thinking cap. We're first going to start out by creating a background image, and we're going to be doing that first, and then we'll get to the second part of it. So the first part of what we're going to do today is just going to be working with the background. So making something, you know, that looks like walls on the background. And I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. Okay, so the start of this project, we're just gonna do part 1 today as what we're gonna do. You're gonna need one piece of paper for this, and some sort of drawing utensil or something that you can either create colors with. That could be oil pastels if you have them, markers, crayons, whatever you have at home. You could use pens even. It is up to you. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our paper and we're going to hold it landscape. So that means it's long, not tall. We're going to make sure that it's long. And then we're going to fold our paper. And so to fold our paper, what we're going to do is we're going to take it over. We're going to make sure that when we have it, that we line up our edges as closely as possible, right? You don't want to make sure they're too far over or too far this way. And then once you have them folded, you're going to take your hand about middle of the way down. I'll scooch mine up so you can see it a little bit better. So you're going to hold it. You take your hand to the center. Notice both of my hands are on my paper, and then you're going to bring it back. And once you get that little crease, it's easier to move about. And once you have it, you're going to take one hand, go that way, and then the other hand, you're going to go that way. Okay? And so you have half of a piece of paper. And then you can unfold it back, and you see that we have 2 equal sides. Okay? So making sure your paper is long again, we're going to take it this way, and we're going to fold it this way. Making it try and meet up in the middle as much as possible. Gonna put our hands back on it. You already have a crease in it, so it should work a little bit easier, but you have it going. Take your hand down, fold it that way, and then open it back up once you've done it to straighten it out a little. So if we've done it correctly, we should have 1, 2, 3, and 4 sides of your paper. They should be pretty even. So landscape, I would turn it to where your paper is tall though, and you're gonna have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and it's gonna be tall. You have those 4 spaces divided. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna start working on making patterns. We're gonna make 4 different patterns. So a pattern for each one of these, and they're all gonna be slightly different. I'm just gonna pick a color and kind of get started with one. I want to do, down here, I'll do green. So I'll take my green, and yours can look anyway. I'm just trying to give you a good example of what you can do. But I'm only gonna take mine for that one little square. I'm not gonna take it up or down. I'm just gonna do one for that square. I'm gonna start out with just a background. But I'm just making sure I have a good background. My background is just gonna be this green thing. And then I'm gonna start working on a pattern. This first pattern, I think I'm gonna keep it pretty simple. So I'm gonna go with a different color to kind of make it stand out. And I want to do lines crossing. So I'm just gonna make some diagonal lines. And I'm just gonna cross them again to make some patterns. If you're having problems thinking of different patterns that you could draw on your thing, you could look around at some of like different shirts. Some shirts have different patterns. We saw some different patterns whenever we were looking at our the painting that Mr. Matisse did. So what I'm gonna continue doing is just filling in and making other patterns for these other areas. I decided I want up here, I'm gonna color it and make a pattern. If you notice, whenever I'm doing this, the brighter colors that I'm doing those first. I'm doing that way so it's easier to kind of color around it, because the dark colors will mask the bright colors. Like with this one, the blue covered over the bright green. So you always want to do lighter colors first. They're easier to hide if you mess up. It's okay if we mess up. I've messed up a couple times. Some of these have went a little further down. That is a-okay. No need to stress about it. Let's see, what do I want to do with this one? I'll do orange. Okay, and so I'm gonna do a different pattern. You could also take a break if you wanted to and look around the room, see if you notice any other type of patterns. Sometimes like plaid shirts are a pattern. Okay, you notice I just have straight lines. So I have my yellow line, my orange, my yellow, my orange. It looks a lot different than this one down here, right? So I'm gonna take a minute and just kind of finish up these other two really quickly. Notice I'm trying to be very careful not to mix these colors too much, but it's happening a little bit, that's okay. And you may take a little bit longer depending on what you're working on. I'm just trying to make a quick example to kind of show you and kind of guide you into something that you can do, okay? So I'm gonna color this and make it a little darker pink. And yours is gonna look a little different. You're gonna have different colors you wanna use, which is, honestly, I'm super excited to see. Okay, for this one, I'll do some lines going this way. So these are gonna be your vertical lines, and these are gonna be horizontal lines. Okay, and then I don't wanna do just straight lines, so I'm gonna go in and add some polka dots every now and then. I'm gonna make, as I'm working, I'm trying to make my patterns a little bit different, a little bit stronger, okay? And last but not least, so if I wanna work up here without smudging anything here, I can easily just pick up my paper and move it around to do what I need to do. Let's see, do this one as my last one. I have been working with some bright colors today, but that's okay. If you really like bright colors, this is great. If you don't, that's okay too. I like working with like natural colors too, so like greens and like browns a lot. These are just ones that I just happen to have hanging out around my desk. So, and then for this one, I'm going to try and do something a little bit harder than what I've done. I'll go with this one. Okay. So I'm doing some squiggly lines. Because it's still repeating, it still works as a pattern, right? Because I don't want just one color, I'm gonna go in with another color on top of it to see and add some more stuff to it. I go in with a blue. Okay, all right. And so when we get finished, we're gonna have 4 separate patterns that you can work with. I decided this is when you can also kind of look at your work and kind of decide if you want to add some more stuff to it. Like this one, I think I'm going to add, since I have blue in all of them, I'm going to put a little blue in here to kind of try and make it stand out a little more. Oh, I probably should have put that right there. Oh well, easy mistake. It happens sometimes. No reason to get upset about it. So that way it kind of brings it all together. I have a little bit of blue everywhere. So whenever you finish with your patterns, don't get rid of this paper, keep it with you because we're gonna be doing something with it in the future, okay? So just keep it with you. I'll post part 2 tomorrow and we'll see what we do next with it, okay?